Well, good morning. Welcome to another webinar. We are the 10th of September. It is Tuesday. Welcome. Please just give me a yes if you can hear me and you can see the screen okay. Should be looking at the Forex factory calendar. I'm actually just going to refresh my YouTube live because it's a bit blurry. So good morning to everybody. Morning, Marcus. Hope you're doing well. Have you settled in well after your very long vacation? Was it 2 weeks that you were away? Murat, welcome. I think you're new. Welcome. We're going to be running through some currency pairs, 13 different currency pairs that I trade. Before we get into that, I will be running through the Forex Factory calendar, which is a look at the news today. See if there's any news events there that we need to be wary of. And this is YouTube Live. What that means is there is usually a 10 to 15 second delay in you typing in responses and me actually getting them and responding. So please bear with me when there's a little bit of a delay. Marcus says, yep, it was 2 weeks. Fantastic. I obviously had my week away, which I enjoyed thoroughly. And I'm back to my fitness routine, running, exercises, trying to get myself back in shape. I've been suffering with injuries over the past few months with my back, my neck, from when I fell off the rocks when I was fishing with my son, and then up to kicking a rock 3 weeks ago, which has limited me walking and running. So Tuesday here on the Forex Factory calendar, we have very little news out, which I'm going to be paying attention to. Actually, we have, let's have a look, yen, euro, pound news, unemployment rate, a little bit of dollar and New Zealand. So there's absolutely no news out today, which I will be paying attention to. So nothing that will stop me from taking trades. Morning, Chi. And so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and look at a few currency pairs. So I'm going to move this out of the way. If you have any currency pairs you would like me to take a look at, please put them in the chat. We'll take a look at them, any trade ideas, and we'll go through those. First of all, though, we'll start off with the Aussie dollar CAD. And there's a couple of opportunities here. One was a long opportunity based on this double bottom. Another one is a short opportunity based on this being a low and tight flag. For me personally, I'm 50-50 as to which one it could be, so I'm going to be staying out of this trade. My bias is, though, that we are going to break to the upside because on the lower time frame we do have a triangle pattern, and I do think we're gonna violate to the upside. So let's zoom out first of all, and we'll do the higher time frame analysis and get a bit of perspective as to what's been happening. So first of all, I need to load some more candles. I'm going to load 5,000 on here because the Aussie dollar CAD is at something like 11-year lows. And I'm not very happy about trading currency pairs when we're at new lows that we've not seen for a decade. For me, it's uncertainty. Although, again, bigger picture is I do think we're going to see a move to the upside here. So, does anybody have anything on the Aussie dollar CAD? And is anybody in any trades this week? Are they currently in a live trade? Have they been in any trades? Let me know. I took one trade, euro yen, which was a retest for a trend continuation. That's not doing very well at the moment, but we are holding structure, so we'll see what happens on that trade. Morning, Stuart. Morning to you. We're just waiting for the day to load on the Aussie dollar CAD. Got to load 5,000 candles on this thing. Marcus, dollar CAD triangle, I was in, missed targets by 2 pips, moved to break even. I was watching the same thing, Marcus. Did you get involved once we had the break below, close below, the pullback into structure? It offered a short opportunity. I didn't actually get involved, but I did see it came just a couple of pips from target and then was stopped out. We'll take a look at that in a bit. So here then on the daily time frame, looking left. Okay, what I'm going to do is put a structure level in at the close of the candles just here and at the lows of the wick, and we're going to be looking left And did this come into structure? Well, it did come into this structure level here that was adhered to in the past, and we do have a level here as well where we have seen a reaction, and just here as well. So it is a zone that's seen 6 reactions. However, none of the reactions were really major. This wasn't. It was a small bounce. We saw a double top, a small bounce, another small bounce, and then we broke through. And then just here we saw another small bounce and a small bounce, and from that point we did see a big reaction, a continuation. So this is one of those structure levels where we have seen small reactions in the past. It's not enough to say, okay, that this was a double bottom down here that I can trade. So it wasn't something I was happy at buying up, and at the same time it's not a good enough structure level it's not a major enough structure level, so I cannot sell the market to say that we're going to violate it. So we're kind of in between a major level and a level that, you know, has and hasn't been respected. So that's why I say we could see a buying opportunity or a selling opportunity here, and the selling opportunity would be a low and tight flag. So we had a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback. This pullback did violate the outside return, unfortunately, but then we saw a move lower. So if this is valid for you for a low and tight flag, well, you're quite simply at market at the moment, and you would be looking for that 127 extension. Now on the lower time frame, as mentioned, we do have a little bit more confirmation that we're going to break to the upside, so I will drop one time frame lower. Just let me reduce this back down to 1,000, and we're going to drop down to the 240 time frame. We're going to take a look at why I think we're going to break to the upside. So okay, so here on the 240, what we actually have on the 240 is we still have this lower level of structure that's been tested multiple times down here, and we have this level of structure just here as well. So I'm going to put a structure level on there, and it's been tested once, twice, 3, 4, 5, and we're currently up in that zone now. What we also have though, if this is a valid double bottom, good morning Anthony, if this is a valid double bottom, and what that means then is we are actually going to break to the upside, and what we have just here is we have a swing in the market, we have a very directional pole, and we have the market adhering to this trend line. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 tests, and we can then say that we could see the market break to the upside and hit as a minimum that 127 extension. The problem we have here is that we have no confirmation that we're going to do that. So we have a daily rotation pattern which is indicating we're going to break to the upside. However, this triangle has held this upper level of structure. So what we can look for here is a break above, close above. Then that will give us more confirmation because we've broken above the structure level that's been tested now 6 times. Wait for a pullback and then look for a chance to get long. Now there is a little bit more confirmation that I think we're going to break to the upside, and that is if we drop an additional time frame lower. So we're going to go down to the 60 and we redraw this back out based on the closes of the candles. So you can see here, close of the candles, close of the candles, close of the candles, right here, double bottom. Okay, there was no RSI confirmation, but you can clearly see we've had a double bottom, a retest, and we broke above that level. Now I do say with these breakout patterns, very often we get a retest within the middle of them. In fact, I say this all the time, particularly on the higher time frame, when we're looking at the 240 and we're looking at the 60 minutes, I always say that these breakout patterns, and these breakout patterns, remember, form a channel. Yeah, this is a coiling channel. It's flat along the top and we're coiling along the bottom. On the middle, we very often get a retest, and that allows us to get tight stops, and it gives us more confirmation that we're going to break to the upside. So that was an opportunity to get involved even though we don't have the confirmed break above close above. In fact, here on the 60 minutes, if I move this structure level up, this is the close of the candles, and you can see that we still haven't broken above this level. So, but this double retest here is just confirmation that we could break to the upside. So even though it isn't one which technically meets the rules right now, you can wait for a pullback, maybe another retest down here, or wait for the breakout and a pullback, and then a chance to get long and involved just here. So we'll wait and see what happens, see if this does offer an opportunity. I think, Marcus, this will be one for you. I think based on your rules, you'll wait for the breakout first and then the pullback. But there's a good potentially 40 pips here. Yeah, 39, 40-ish pips, something like that. And this could very well play out today. These are breakout patterns, so if we do break out, we typically break out with force, and this could happen within a few hours. Yeah, Marcus is looking for the break first of all. So, any questions on the Aussie dollar CAD? While I'm waiting for any responses that you have, I'm just going to take a quick look at the 15. Nothing on the 15, but I tell you what you do have, guys, is it looks like you could have on the 5 minute a head and shoulders here. So just here we've obviously held structure. Yeah, let's look left. Structure has been held, and as I say, within these channels we get very often rotation patterns, and that's not just double tops and double bottoms, it's very often as well head and shoulders. And as we drop down to the 5 minute, we may have a very small head and shoulders. Yep, I can see it here. So this is the swing in the market. Remember, head and shoulders, guys, is a rotation pattern. With it being a pattern, that typically means that we have a swing in the market, and that's exactly what we have. We've got a pullback, then we've got a move higher, and we've actually held structure. We had a move lower, a pullback, and now we're moving lower. So we could very well see a head and shoulders here, potentially down to this level, or as a minimum an AB equals CD pattern down to this level. Bigger picture, we are looking long. There's no way of getting involved in this head and shoulders, unfortunately. If you got involved now, it's just not big enough. Yeah, 9-10 pips in it, something like that. But it's good to look at. Not yet, Stuart, not looked at the euro yen as yet. This is our first currency pair. But it is nice to see on the Aussie dollar CAD the fact that we do get those rotation patterns within these channels, and again, they do happen all the time within the channels. So we will leave that to one side for the time being, and we will take a look at the Aussie dollar. I haven't really done a review this morning, guys. It's my children's second day in their new Spanish school. So we've been walking to school. It's a 10-minute walk from the house. So took them to school this morning, and then right next to their school, we've got a great big park. It's about the size of a football field. We've got tennis and basketball and football there, and there's an outside gym and there's a park for the kids. So I went on the outside gym with the wife this morning for 20 minutes. So I'm a little bit late doing YouTube live. It should have been at 9:30. I didn't actually realise the time. We'll take a look at the oh, Stuart, sorry, euro dollar. No, I've not looked at the euro dollar as yet. That was the double top, wasn't it? That short opportunity. I did take a quick look this morning. It didn't quite look like a valid double top anymore, but it could be. We'll take a look at that very shortly. But we do have a very big shorting opportunity there based on a first chance double top entry. We'll take a look at that shortly. So Aussie dollar on the daily. Well, we've been saying for a long time, haven't we? Structure level just here. Structure level has been held. This could very well be a valid double bottom. Down here we did have the RSI confirmation. We went oversold with divergence, and that's exactly what we've seen, guys. Now this wasn't valid for me. I know that we had a couple of people within the platform that actually bought this up, and I said that this is a valid double bottom. However, we were making lower lows here, and we were closing within the wicks, and we could see a break to the downside. So for that reason, I wasn't interested in buying this up, but we did. We got the move higher eventually, and well done to anybody that took it. Targets as a minimum were a retest of previous structure closes of the candles, and that's exactly what we've done. If I was to buy this up, this is where I would have taken targets. It would have been a lovely 126 pips, something like that, depending where your entry was. And that's a big move, guys, on the Aussie dollar. You know, the Aussie dollar doesn't really move, and this was a big move. Stuart says, when you look at euro dollar, can you tell me if that's a flag on the 60? Yep, certainly will. Certainly will. If you were looking at a small counter trend trade here on the euro dollar, you would have looked within the wicks and you would have dropped one time frame lower. However, this is no longer valid. We've closed above this area now, and there wouldn't be any type of valid double top on the lower time frame. Bigger picture then, are we still looking long or are we still looking short? Well, bigger picture is lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, but we have still technically held this structure level. So I'm actually just going to load a little bit more data here, and we're going to see if this double bottom came into a valid structure zone, or whether or not we could still look for a move to the downside. This could take a few minutes, guys, to load. Just while we're waiting, has anybody got any other currency pairs they would like to take a look at? I'm just going to have a quick look at the euro dollar just while we're waiting on that. Oh, okay. Euro dollar may be a selling opportunity. Was this the flag you're talking about, Stuart? I did look at this the other day, actually. Was this the flag you were looking at? 1, 2, 3 failed to come for me personally for the fourth test. I know we had this wick, but the fourth test did not come down to here, and we didn't hit a 382 either. Yeah, we did actually. I might be thinking of a different currency pair. So we did hit a 382. For me personally, this was not a valid flag. Bigger picture here, we're looking at the market coming lower rather than higher, so this would not have been valid for me. It's the only flag I can see. But yeah, we'd be buying the market up when overall here we could be looking short. In fact, we've just had the 4-hour candle close, so this could be a valid short at market. Just going to move that out of the way, and we will continue looking at the Aussie dollar. So looking left. Okay. So we are at an internal level of structure here, guys. Here. Yeah. Very minor level of structure here. For me personally, even though we've seen a retest down here, bigger picture is I do think that we're going to see a move lower down to the structure level. But right now, that is not something that we're doing. So let's drop that back down to 1,000. Let's drop one time frame lower. Chi says pound yen, though waiting on a better entry other than the pattern on the pound yen. We'll take a look at the pound yen. What pattern is it you're looking at? Okay, let's go down to the 240, guys. Down to the 240. Okay. If you're looking at the market coming higher, potentially to this trendline structure, I think if we draw it from this one, 1, 2, 3. If you're looking at the market coming higher up to this zone, well, if we zoom in and take a look, you may have an at market buy. Let's drop down an additional time frame to the 60 minutes and we'll take a look at the trend. Okay, so here on the 60 we've had a move higher, a pullback. We'll just fatten this up a little bit. We had a move higher, a pullback, a move higher, and now we're seeing a pullback. So guys, what can we use here to get involved with a potential long opportunity? First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the outside return. So from our swing high to swing low, this is the entire outside return, and we can use many different strategies here to get involved with a trade. If you could throw it in the chat for me, let me know the different types of strategies we can use. We have a first chance, first of all, first chance entry. What that would be is a rotation pattern within the wicks just here. Now the problem here is we have closed beyond that level, so there would be no first chance entry. What about the second chance entry, guys, which is within the candle bodies? What we could use the second chance entry here, which would quite simply be a higher high, higher close. Third of all, we could see a last chance entry down here. But what else could we see within here that we could use as an entry? What about if I throw on a fib from this X leg here? Move it up. We hit a 61.8 fib. We throw a fib on here. We hit also another 61.8 fib. So we have Gartley, X to A to B, B to C, CD completion around this level. So we could use the Gartley pattern as an entry into a long opportunity. Second of all, we could look for some fib confluence, guys, like this. So we have an AB equals CD pattern coming right into our completion zone. Do we have anything like psychological numbers down in this level? The best numbers for me are every 100. No, we don't have anything like that. What else do we have? No real fib confluence from that leg. Let's see, do we have anything else? Okay, so we could use the Gartley pattern as the entry for that potential long opportunity. And what I would personally do is I would take two targets. So if this is your risk, stops go 1 ATR as a minimum below the low. ATR at the moment is 8 pips. So that's going to put us there. First targets would be a retest of structure highs, just there, giving us a positive reward to risk. And if we go out to the 240 time frame and we look at where secondary targets could be, well, you could then hold for secondary targets all the way up here, giving us a valid trend continuation trade if you believe that we're going to come back up to retest this structure level. Any questions on the Aussie dollar? If not, I will move it off to the side. Okay guys, I'm just going to take another look at the euro dollar because I think we have an at market sell here. Now the problem is I'm in the wrong account. So I'm going to move the Aussie dollar to the side, guys, and we're going to look at this at market sell. We will see if this is a valid short opportunity. So here on the daily time frame. So let's draw out structure. We had a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback, a move lower. So what this actually means is this is technically our outside return, and if we highlight the wicks, then that would give us a valid first chance entry. So what that means is that we would drop one time frame lower and look for a double top, a valid retest, and then look to see if there's room to come lower. So first of all, let's look to see if there's room to come lower. So I'm going to put two structure levels on, one at the closes of the candles, one at the low of the wicks. Let's look left and see, did this come into a structure level? Yes, yes. And then we've got an area here as well. So even though this is an internal level of structure, this is a very weak internal level of structure, and for me personally, I believe that we can come significantly lower, either down to this structure level, this one, and this one. Okay, so as a minimum, I'm looking at price coming down to this level. So as we go back and look bigger picture, yes, I believe that we can come down for a retest of this level, and even all the way down to this lower level of structure. So let's go and drop one time frame lower. Do we have then a valid retest up in this level on the 4 hourly? And yes, we absolutely do, guys. This is now a valid retest. Do we have the RSI confirmation? So we would need to have gone overbought on the first test. We did at 82 almost, and we had divergence. So guys, this is now a valid first chance entry, playing for a retest of the lows. So I'm actually in the wrong account here. So I've got to do this under the sim, but I'm going to go ahead here and short the market. There we go. In actual fact, guys, two targets. This will be two targets. Have I even got this set up on this account? Yeah, okay. Okie dokie. So stops go an ATR above the high. The pattern is valid here on the 240, so we use the ATR based on the 240 time frame. And by the way, guys, I'm going to make this an actual live trade shortly. It's just on this account. It takes me absolutely ages to log on and do it under my main account. So the ATR is currently 18, so I want to be 18 pips above this level. That's going to put me 3 pips above that psychological number. So I'm actually going to go an additional 7 pips above that. So I'm going to be a full 10 pips above this psychological number, 111 flat. Remember, psychological numbers offer us protection. First targets are going to be a retest of the closes of the candles just down here. And secondary targets are going to be that first structure level all the way. Let me go out to the 240, guys. I'm going to see how many pips are up for grabs in this trade. Okay, 100 pips, 74 of risk. Okay. Let me go out to the dailies. Secondary targets. All the way down at 105.99. Yep, okay, so let's go back to the trade, guys. Okay, so we have, in terms of risk on this valid double top, 75 pips of risk. First targets are worth 98. Secondary targets all the way down at 452 pips. And what we can do is, if we do hit first targets and we put in a break below, close below, we can then wait for the market to enter trend. And every time we enter trend, if this is our stop loss, we can move our stop above the outside return and bank in profit as we go. And in the event that we do see the market suddenly reverse up here, will be stopped out at this point, but banking those additional pips. So this would be, because it's a very large trade, rather than just hold it for 450 pips, we could just move our stop on every outside return, thus banking profit as we go. So what I'm just going to do is, let me just send this out as a signal, if it will let me do a screenshot. Whenever I do YouTube live, it's not too kind to me. Oh, there we go, it's managed to do it. Second, guys. So short euro dollar, trend continuation, using first chance entry. Okay, so that's the euro dollar. We will see if we do get that move to the downside. Any questions on that setup, guys? Euro Aussie then. Euro Aussie, we have a big daily bat pattern, and it's a beautiful one actually, because it comes into trend line structure. So if I put a trend line based on the close of the candles, like this, you can see we have 1, 2, 3 tests, and if I zoom in and throw a fib on from our swing low to swing high, we actually have X to A to B, B to C, CD completion down at the 886, bringing us in nicely to that trendline structure, a major level of structure which could offer us a very nice level of support. What you can also do is look for a retest down at this structure level just here. So you could drop 1 time frame lower and quite simply look for that double bottom. Or head and shoulders. This time frame is plenty big enough for the market to come down. Put in a head and shoulders and reverse the other way. And this would be a very large trade, guys. Major level of structure, bat pattern, and if you were to get some sort of entry here, whether it be a rotation pattern or something else, well, there would be up for grabs here a 280 pip move, giving you a very nice opportunity. Let's go and drop down to the 60. Here on the 60, there isn't a great deal for me personally. If you're still looking at the market coming a little lower, you could look for trend continuation trade. So we had a move lower, then right here we had a breakout, a move lower, a breakout, a move lower, and then we've kind of come down to this level of consolidation that you can see here. We came lower and then we've pulled back into it. Let's go and take a look at the 15. In fact, you can see here, guys, just before we lose the screen, I'll just go back to it. Rejection candles just here. Candles that have long wicks to the upside and small bodies to the downside, an indication here that there's rejection and we could see a move lower. Go and take a look at it on the 15. Okay, here on the 15, it's just junk. Yeah, nothing here on the 15 for me. Not too much on the 60 other than those rejection candles. So I do think we're going to see a move to the downside here, and I'm going to be paying close attention to this major structure level here and a chance to get involved with that trade. Any questions though on the Euro Aussie? Move that one out of the way, and let's go and take a look at, okay, what next? We have it's not worth going over the Euro New Zealand. We've done the Euro Dollar. Let's take a look at the Pound Aussie, guys. Anybody got anything on the Pound Aussie? I know, Marcus, you're staying away from the pound pairs at the moment. Very sensible, because of all the uncertainty and all the news. Although for the next few days Parliament has been closed, so there may not be any major news events this week, because Parliament is closed until the 14th. And so, in my opinion, there's not going to be any major decisions made by Parliament. But that's not to say that Europe can't turn around and tell the Prime Minister some news which still could affect the market. So let's go and take a look at the dailies. Daily time frame. Good grief, just look at this. It's just absolutely horrible. Just junk. Just junk here on the dailies. Take a look at the 240. 240. I'm just looking to see if there's any trend lines, guys. There was this one which we'd spoke about for a long period of time. We got a big rejection at that point. Did price come down to hit its projected target? Well, for me it's always the close of the candles, and for here we didn't quite hit the close of the candles, but for me personally that move's happened because we've come very close to where targets would have been. Let's drop down another time frame to the 60, and look at that beautiful retest up here. Also had the RSI confirmation. Beautiful. Look for those rotation patterns at structure. This is where you'll see those patterns. Morning, Cody. So guys, we had a winning cipher on this currency pair, X to A to B, B to C, CD completion, and this was a 2 target winner. Lovely to see. We'd actually come down almost to the X leg, and from that point we saw a rally which hit the 38.2 and the 61.8. so nice to see a winning cipher. If you took this, you may have banked maybe 50-ish pips, maybe 40 for target 1s, and then you just rallied all the way up to hit target 2s. So was anybody in this trade? There was 2 winners, 2 winning cipher patterns the same day. There was the pound Aussie and the pound New Zealand. Both of them won. Do we have any other advanced patterns that are setting up here? Well, we could do, yeah. What do we have up here? X to A to B. We would need this C leg to come down to a 61.8 and then a move higher. So it's a potential. It's not been validated just yet, but it is a potential. Let's drop to the 15, and here on the 15 I actually thought we were going to see a back pattern using this structure level, but it's not valid. You can see that this level here is higher than that level, and so there's no valid pattern for me here. What else have we got? Let me just go back to the 60, guys. $15. What I'm noticing here is a swing in the market, and whenever I see these swings in the market, I always look for head and shoulders or some form of flag or breakout pattern, and you can see that we've got a very nice pole here. We have the market that's adhering to trendline structure. The problem for me that if this was a low and tight flag, we've got the distance between here is too big, and it's not occurred within trend, which is typically where these patterns occur. So even though we've got a very nice pole here and we've got to move higher, I've just got no pattern here. So nothing on the 15. There could be something on the 5 minute. We take a look at it. Okay guys, a few things setting up here. We could first of all have a back pattern. So X to A to B, we hit the 50%, B to C, CD completion. this would be a valid sell opportunity. And we do also have, okay, we don't have a back pattern there, but we do have a potential flag pattern. 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. You would be waiting for the 4th touch down here. Minimum of a 382 fib to be hit. That is correct. And the next thing we would need is for this to come into structure. So let's look left for some form of structure. If I put a structure level on here at the 4th test, you can see we do have a level of internal structure which has been adhered to in the past. This is not going to be a valid opportunity for me though, because this has actually occurred. The top of this flag has basically occurred at this level of structure. So this is just going to be consolidation for me, guys. Even though it's looking like it's going to meet the rules, it's come into previous structure and I have no confirmation if the market's going to go higher or if it's going to go lower. The only trade that I would look at here would be this back pattern, and we can look for a rotation pattern up here within the wicks and a chance to short the market. And of course, with it being the pound Aussie and all the movement that we're seeing on it, it's probably got a good ATR, and there's probably a good few pips up for grabs here. So if we were able to get an entry right up at the X leg here, you would have down to target ones at about 40 pips, and that's a very good day trade for a 5-minute pattern. So I'll be monitoring that to see if it does provide us any type of entry. And any questions on the pound Aussie? Just going to make a note of that. I'll monitor that throughout today. So pound Aussie 5-minute bat. What else do we have, guys? Pound yen. Pound yen, we're getting the move higher. We've been speaking about for a long period of time the long opportunity. In fact, you can still see the workings out that we had here. This was a double bottom on the on the daily time frame, I think, and we said that we could do a few things. We could look for a move lower and a double bottom here and a chance to get long. Targets were this previous structure level, or see this trend line here for a head and shoulders. We could look at the market violating to the upside, seeing a pullback. Look at what we did. We pulled right back into previous structure and looked for a long opportunity, and since then we have once again put in another long. So this trade is playing out nicely, even though I couldn't get involved because it was basically the double bottom was on the dailies. Cody says just saw the short on the euro dollar as well. Very nice. Yep. Let's do the high time frame analysis on the pound yen then, guys. So this was the double bottom that we called weeks ago now, it seems like. In fact, I think it was weeks ago. This is the dailies. We was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it was last week. So early last week, we called this double bottom. We had the RSI confirmation. We were at a level of structure where we could have seen support, and from that point, we've seen a move higher. And here on the daily time frame, if we draw out the trend, move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move lower. This is the pullback, guys, and a move lower. Does everybody agree with me that this is the outside return that we've just highlighted here? And with it being the outside return and the only major level of structure, that this is the most appropriate place where we should look at taking targets. And if you want the safest place, it's going to be within the wicks, and it's going to be the closes of the candles right here. Does everybody agree that this would be the best place for us to take targets? While I'm waiting for your responses, Cody's put yes. Stuart's put, I noticed the short on the euro dollar, but then I thought I seen a bullish flag on the 60. Still think it will go lower based on the daily in 240. Yeah, valid first chance entry. The euro yen, which I'm short, was also a valid last chance entry. That's not doing very well at the moment. I'm noticing though this week I'm actually finding more things to talk about. If I'm completely honest, over the last month, even 6 weeks, the webinars I've just not enjoyed at all. I've been limiting them to about 45 minutes to an hour. There's been nothing to talk about really. It's just been pretty shocking, but it's nice to see, like the pound yen, we're now finding areas of support. We're seeing moves. We've got now a clear double bottom, a clear projection. If guys, if we do not reach our projected target, remember we have a very high probability now of coming up to retest as a minimum this structure level. We have now had a break above, close above this double top. There is absolutely no reason why we cannot wait for another pullback. However, just because we missed our best entry down here does not mean that there is not a valid opportunity to still get involved and get long. Okay, from here up to our projected targets, there's still 152 pips. So let's drop down the time frames. Let's look, is there a valid long opportunity? And guys, those of you that know how to read trend, tell me, is there a valid opportunity to get long if we have a move higher? There's a 1 point move, 2 point move, 3 point move. Is there a valid opportunity to get involved using a trend continuation trade? So we've clearly got a double bottom on the dailies. We've violated this level of structure. We've got a 3 point move and we have room to go to our higher structure level. Oh, this feels good. It feels good to talk about these things because again, over the last month there's been nothing like this to talk about, nothing to get my teeth into. Cody says, yes, we have nice structure looking left too. Excellent. So this is, we have room to go higher. We're in trend. We have a daily double bottom, which is giving us an indication we can go higher. So what are the 3 types of strategies that we can use, guys, when we look at they're the first chance entry, which is within the wicks, second chance entry, which is in the candle bodies, and last chance entry to get involved down here. So first chance entry, we're allowed to drop 1 time frame lower and look for those rotation patterns, aren't we? So we're now within the wicks just here. We're on the 240 time frame. Let's drop 1 time frame lower. Do we have a valid double bottom so that we can get involved with a long opportunity? Okay, right now we don't have a valid double bottom, but if the market comes up and comes back down, this will provide us a valid double bottom down here. Second of all, we need the RSI confirmation. Did we have the RSI go overbought on the first test? This is where the RSI is currently at 36. The answer is no. Okay, so even if we get a valid retest just here, we will not have any RSI confirmation. So we can clearly say that we will not get a valid first chance entry. So let me just go back to the 240, guys, and we can delete this off. Okay, so it's going to leave us the second chance entry and the last chance entry to get involved with these trades. Stuart says higher high, higher close for second chance. Absolutely. Typically, when we're looking at trend continuation, the majority of the time it's second chance entry. Then it's the first chance entry, because very often when we're looking at trend, we make long extensions, small pullbacks, long extensions, small pullbacks. Those small pullbacks come into the wicks of the top, and then we see the long extensions. Okay, it's very rare that we get the last chance entry. So the majority of the time it's the second chance entry. So just tell me, guys, what are we going to be looking for in fact, sorry, Stuart has already put it, the higher high, higher close. So we're going to be looking for price to come lower. to within the candle bodies just here, and we're quite simply going to be waiting for a higher high, higher close candle. Now while I'm drawing this out with my expert drawing skills, would you let me know where you would put your stop loss? Man, that's a really big candle. Let's reduce that down a little bit. Let me try that again. Okay, so this is, it won't let me draw the wicks actually, but anyway, this is the higher high, higher close candle. Our entry will be when we get the higher high, higher close candle. And Stuart says 180R below the lowest wick, exactly. So the outside return, the low of it is just here. So this would be our entry, and we would go 180R below, which is, wow, 52 pips. Okay, down here. Okay, so this would be our risk. So this is the risk on this trade. Now we have a couple of options for targets, guys. Where would your targets be? Targets can be in several places. We can look at playing for the close of the candles, the high of the wicks, or we can simply say that we have a very good chance that price is going to come up to this level. In fact, within this structure zone just here, guys, psychological number, price is very often drawn towards psychological numbers. You know that I use them to hide stops behind. How many times over the past 3 months have I been through trades where I've put stops behind psychological numbers, or we've seen price hit a psychological number and reverse from that point time and time again? So it's highly likely we're going to see price pulled towards this structure level and that psychological number. So I think that we can say quite safely that we're going to put our stop 10 pips below that psychological number, and that is where we can look at taking targets. So this would mean 115 pips of risk for a beautiful 247 pips of rewards. Guys, my mouth is watering. My mouth is watering. We haven't had a very nice trend continuation trade with a daily double bottom and plenty of room to go higher. Plenty of room to go higher here for this beautiful 247 pips. So this is actually over my 100 pips of max. So if we get the higher high, higher close at this level, I'll actually just have to wait for price to come 15 pips lower. And that'll actually mean then that the risk will actually be 100 pips. So let me reduce that down. It'll be 100 pips, and the reward will actually go up by another 15 pips as well. So about there-ish. So about 265-ish pips of rewards, something like that. Let me catch up with the chat. Cody beat me to it. Pound yen is always a big ATR. Yep. Again, it is a pound pair, guys, so be a little bit wary of news. But you know, this is on the 240 time frame. This could very, very easily play out by the end of the week while Parliament is basically been closed. Stuart would say playing for a retest of the highs in the next structure shelf. Yeah, I would, to be honest with you. We've got a big double bottom. Look at the trend, look at the power in this big bullish move. Okay, lots and lots of buying pressure, a small pullback, another move higher, and a pullback. For me personally, this would be a trade where I would just hold, because we're moving very directionally, aren't we? Directional, small pullback, directional, yeah, and so I'll just simply be holding this. Yep. Mouth is watering. Need to make some money, and 247 pips looks nice. I am also going to be paying close attention to the Euro Aussie, the big daily bat pattern. and the entry. I'm going to be looking at the Aussie dollar CAD and the triangle. Noticing quite a big change in the market, guys, so I am due a lot of winners. Divergence on the hourly, Cody says as well. Stuart says, what would your thoughts be if you got a double top in that area? Well, yeah, that's going to scupper any chances to look for trend continuation. So if we got this right here, a pullback, a move higher, and then we came lower, that's going to scupper any chances of getting involved in a trend continuation trade. Now, just to clarify this point, because what Stuart says is a perfectly valid question, if we got a double top here on the 60, okay, like this, so this would be the double top just here, just going to mark this out, and then we moved lower. Well, I can't take a trend continuation trade on the 60-minute because the double top has formed on the 60. However, if we go back to the 240, I can take a trend continuation trade on the 240 because the double top is not valid there. Okay, and the reason for that is because the lower time frame, the 60-minute, says we cannot do trend continuation when there is a rotation pattern. However, our higher time frame, which is the 240, does not have a valid double top. And so if we come lower and get the higher close here, the higher time frame is giving us confirmation that we could go higher, and that supersedes the lower time frame, which is the 60-minute. So Stuart, very good question, but that is the reason why we can't take it on the 60, but if it's valid on the 240, the higher time frame, we absolutely can. Welcome to the old helmet. Welcome if you just joined us and you're new. Is this about helmets? No. It's about trend continuation, looking at the pound yen. Cody, not to confuse anyone, low, don't look at that. Okay. Cody says this very well could be a head and shoulders setting up, but that is very far away. It could be. I'll tell you why it's not for me. Obviously Cody has just said ignore it. I'll tell you why he's looking at the head and shoulders, and that's because here on the 240 time frame, this internal level of structure right here, Cody is looking at this. Now, to carry on with this point, for me personally, I wouldn't take this. I'd take this as trend continuation, but this is what Cody's looking at. So swing in the market, directional move. And you can see that we've come up to a 240 level of structure, and if we do something like this actually, Cody, will be a valid head and shoulders if, number one, we do not get a higher close just here. Okay, that for me is going to be a buy signal. However, if we do not get that, and the market rallies down and we violate our level of structure, remember this is the entire outside return here. If we physically violate this level of structure, you can then look for a pullback and look for a short opportunity, because guess what, guys, if we go back to the daily time frame, I hope I'm not going to lose people here. Okay, this double bottom, what do we sometimes get after we have a break above, close above the V point of the double bottom? What do we sometimes get? Pullback. Yeah, exactly. We sometimes get a pullback to a 26.18. So if I just throw a fib on from my swing high to swing low, leave the 61.8 on, then we could see a pullback to a 61.8 fib. So actually, Cody, really good, to be honest with you mentioning this, because not only do we have a trend continuation trade then on the 240, but if that becomes invalid and we just rally lower, we could then see, let me go back to the 240, we could see a beautiful head and shoulders, and this would be valid for me because we're at structure. And remember, head and shoulders is a pattern, and we actually need it to hold structure, and this would be a valid opportunity. So we would wait for a violation here, giving us an initial structure low, which is an indication of a rotation. We would wait for a pullback. So again, anywhere within this zone here, we would quite simply wait for a lower low, lower close. We'd wait for a second chance entry, yeah, and we would get involved. What we can also do is look for a double top, and I will say that within head and shoulders, a lot of the time we get a double top in the wicks up here, and that would allow very tight stops, and targets for me then would be the 61.8 fib here, or you could look at an AB equals CD pattern, which would still bring you down to the 61.8 fib. So any way you look at it, we could have a long or a short opportunity on the pound yen. So certainly a nice pair to be paying attention to. Stuart says, and if you get the double top, you could have a double headed head and shoulders. Yes, you could. Yeah, and that is where it can get a little bit confusing, but the head and shoulders is on the 240, so the 240 will always supersede the 60 will always supersede the 15. So if we get a valid double top on the 240 time frame, then that will stop a trend continuation trade, and you could use that as a short. Now, if we were going to get a double-headed head and shoulders, first of all, the double top would need to come within the wicks, and as you can see, yes, we've come into the wicks. What else do we need for a valid double top? Let me clear this up a little bit. I don't want to delete everything because I want to leave this on for next time. But what do we need for a valid double top? Yeah, I'm enjoying the session as well, Stuart. It's nice to get my teeth into something other than talking about rubbish, to be honest. We need the RSI confirmation. So, did we have the RSI on the first test go overbought? Yes, we did. So we would need divergence on the second test. Now, do I think that we're going to get it? Never say never, but I don't. The problem you have with this double top right here is that, look, it's already come into this structure level. So even though we may get a retest here, it's already come down into previous structure. So this is making it difficult because it's already come down to this level. So for me personally, I wouldn't sell a double top. I don't think we're going to get one. I do actually think we're just going to come lower, and we'll either get a higher high, higher close candle, or we'll violate and we'll put in a potential head and shoulders. But again, the 240 will always supersede the 60. For now, just as Cody says, sit on your hands and wait. Sit on our hands and wait. We didn't do the 15, did we? Okay, on the 15. Just let me go back to the 60. Okay, I'm going to put a structure level on the closes of the candles here on the 60 and drop down to the 15. Okay, I was going to say that we may have another head and shoulders here, but it's not valid. You can see here price did not come up into the previous structure level, so it would not be valid for a head and shoulders. Head and shoulders is a rotation pattern and it needs to come into previous structure, and that we didn't do. Let's drop down to the 5. There may be a back pattern if it's valid here using this X leg. No, we only hit a 38.2, so nothing there. So really just waiting here, guys, aren't we? Going to be paying very close attention to this though. So Great British Pound Yen to 240, and move it off to one side. What else to talk about? Let's do the pound dollar, guys, because in one of the last webinars, can't remember when it was, we looked at this trend continuation opportunity, and look at the trend here: long extension, small pullback, long extension, small pullback, extension, small pullback into the wicks. We were looking for a second chance entry, if you remember, guys. It never gave it to us, and then we had the move higher. So the pound dollar played out nicely. Unfortunately, didn't give us any opportunity to get involved with the trade. Let's delete it off. Okay, structure level on at the point where we'd been talking about for weeks as to where we think price would come to, and that's exactly what we did. And from that level, we've seen a move higher. Did we physically break above this level of structure? Yes, we did. We now have a break above, close above. However, we have, I think, yep, we have now come into previous structure. So we're kind of now sandwiched in between two structure levels. And with us being sandwiched between two structure levels, I have now no bias as to whether or not we could go higher or lower. So let's drop one time frame lower though. We've actually reached the area that I thought we would. However, if you still think that price can come higher, anywhere within this potential zone, well, you have a potential opportunity to get long. So we had a move higher, and I'm going to put a structure level in there, and you can see that we did only just make a new high, and I'm going to talk about this in a moment. Then we had a pullback, and then we've made a new high up to this point. So can anybody tell me why me personally, I'm not going to be looking for any more long opportunities now? There's two reasons. The first one I'm going to tell you, and that is because we have already come into the structure level that I thought we would. That would be the first reason. Because does anybody know, though, the second reason? Look at the trend. Remember what I say, our best trend continuation trades are long extensions, small pullbacks, long extensions, small pullbacks, long extensions. Stuart says double top. No, wouldn't be a double top here, Stuart, because that would have been the first test. This would be the second, and the second test has violated the first. So it would not be a valid double top. If anything, it would be an indication that we're going to go higher. But what is the reason why I would not be looking for a long? This is our entire outside return, so you could look for a pullback and then look for another long. But why, in this instance, would I not be interested in a valid long opportunity? Welcome, Khan. And the reason being is quite simply is the extension just here. We only just made a new high. Okay, so this is an indication that the market is now running out of steam, and we could see a rotation. Obviously, we have come into previous structure, which is one, but second of all, our best trend continuation is long extensions, small pullbacks, long extensions, small pullbacks, and we didn't get that long extension. If we extended all the way up here and then we saw a pullback, then this would be extra confirmation that we're going to go higher. But this is a sign right here that the bulls have run out of buying pressure, and we only just made a new high, and we could start to see consolidation. We could see the market start to run out of steam. We could see a rotation. We could see structure violated to the downside. Okay, this is what this screams to me. So this is why, for me personally, even though it is a valid trend continuation opportunity, it's not the best. take a look at the 60. Here on the 60. Okay. I'm looking at this swing in the market to see if it produced any type of breakout pattern. And it didn't. Let's drop down to the 15. Any type of advanced pattern. Okay, we could end up with a back pattern here maybe. So we have this swing in the market giving us a very nice pole here, and you can see we have X to A to B. We would be looking for B to C and a CD completion for a back pattern here. I'm just going to make a note of this as well. Pound dollar bat. What we also may have is another pattern on the 5 minute. Okay, here on the 5 we have another swing the other way. Unfortunately we do not hit a 50%, so it's not going to be a back pattern that way. You could see a flag pattern here. You would be looking for 1, 2, 3. It's not occurring in the zone where I would expect to see flags. Typically flags happen when we're moving directionally. In this instance we're in consolidation, and it's unlikely this is going to turn into a flag. Bigger picture here, I'm going to be waiting for the back pattern. So we need a 38.2 fib to be, oh look at that, we did hit it. I didn't think we did. There we go, I should draw these out and check. So X to A to B, B to C, CD completion, guys. It looks ugly, but it is a valid back pattern. So we have the bat as well on the pound dollar. Lots and lots of stuff today, guys. I think we'll call the last one the dollar yen. I'm just going to have a quick look at what's going on here. In fact, just let me take a quick look at the New Zealand dollar. Actually, we'll do the New Zealand dollar as well, guys. Not had my breakfast yet. I'm absolutely starving. My breakfast now is 2 boiled eggs, some Serrano ham and some melon. It's my breakfast now. I'm trying to lose some weight off my stomach. I put a bit of weight on when I was away on holiday, and with my hurting my toe, not being able to go running, I've put a little bit of weight on around my stomach. You can't see my 6-pack anymore. Just throw that out there for any girls that are out there. Yeah, New Zealand dollar, we're consolidating on the 240, and we may be putting in a double or triple top. You know what, guys, we may have a valid short on the New Zealand dollar. Okay, just while I'm waiting for these additional candles to load, this is what I'm looking at just here. If I go ahead and highlight the wicks just there, guys, look at what we're doing right here. Okay, we're currently holding this structure level. How dare you laugh, Stuart, Cody? I do have a 6-pack. It's in my wine cooler cooling. Okay, this is now loaded. Bigger picture. This is our lowest level of structure down here. Have we come down? Yeah, look at this, guys. Okay, this is interesting. Okay. The lowest close of the candle is this level right here. You can see this zone has now been tested 3 times, and for me personally, price needs to come down to the closes of the candles for us to have tested the structure level. And if we go back right, look at what we have done, guys. We have fallen short. So my bias here is that we are still going to be coming lower. So let's just draw out the trend. In fact, there isn't really one. We've just seen a big drop here, really. But previous structure just here, guys. So let's drop one time frame lower to the 240. And we can look for that rotation pattern within those wicks. Ho, 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 ho. Lovely. What do you notice, guys? One test, two test. Now, very importantly, did the first test close above the first test? No, it did not. Therefore, gave us a valid double top, triple top. Do we have the RSI confirmation? Did we go overbought on the first test with divergence? Yes, we did. So guys, this is a valid short for me. So this is going to be an at market sell. What else do we have here? No, no. Okay, guys. Let's go ahead and short the market. Okay, so stops first of all, guys. Please let me know where they go just while I'm redoing this. In fact, we want one target here, don't we? This is a very nice setup, guys. Stops, let me know where it needs to go, guys. Nice markers. I hadn't done a review this morning. Do you know, guys, it's so nice to see some decent opportunities in the market. So triple top, RSI confirmation, previous structure, a small amount of risk. Cody double top off a 64.40 structure level. 1 ATR, guys, exactly, that's all we need, 1 ATR. So the ATR is currently 17 pips. 17 pips above the first test is going to make me, I've got to add, so 55.62. Very nice. Okay, so we have just 39 pips of risk. We have 165 pips to our target. Now, if you want to be conservative, guys, play for a retest of the closes of the candles here if you wish. For me personally, we're going to come lower, so the lower structure level here for me is this level. There is no psychological number here which would where I would want to take targets early, if you understand me. So at 39 for 165, just let me send this one out as a signal as well. I'm going to make back my pips. A little bit presumptuous there, but a couple of nice opportunities. So this is the New Zealand dollar. New Zealand dollar 240, trend continuation, first chance entry, double top, short. There we go. Very nice. So let me make a note. So I need, on my actual main account, I need to get short the New Zealand dollar, double top, and the Aussie dollar. What was it? It was the euro dollar, wasn't it? Euro dollar. Okie dokie. Let's take a look at the last one, which is going to be the dollar yen. Okay, dollar yen was, you can see the workings out from last time where we were still looking for long opportunities. Bigger picture here is I do believe we have room to potentially come up to this higher structure level. So we'll call this the last one, guys. Really enjoyed this session today. So structure level in at the closes of the candles just down there. You can see we have now come into that level, and time and time again this is what we see, just like we've done there on the New Zealand dollar. We're waiting for the market to come and test the closes of the candles, and that's exactly what we did, guys, and we saw a reaction bullish. So the market came lower, a pullback, came lower, did put in a new low, but then has broke to the upside. Okay, let's drop down to the 240. Here on the 240 we had, what's the best way to draw this out? Okay, this is our highest structure point just here. Okay, this was our highest structure point, and we have now broken above it. How did we break above it? Well, we had a move higher, a pullback, and then a move higher. So you could now look for a pullback anywhere within the outside return and look for that long opportunity. Now the question is, where do we think price can go to? Well, at a maximum I think we can come up to this zone. What else do we have? Okay, we have potentially trendline structure. You could see come up to here as a minimum. Let's drop down to the 60. And so pretty much the same thing again here, guys. First chance entry, second chance, or even last chance entry to get involved with a potential move higher there. Where we would go to, I'm not 100% certain. So as I say, as a maximum, I'd only look for a retest of this level. This might be one where if you get the move higher, you move your stop on every outside return until you get stopped out. Where did you put your target? Sorry, okay. It was a New Zealand dollar, wasn't it? Okay, so New Zealand dollar is at 62.56. So if we go back out to the dailies, might take a minute to load, but it was the next structure level, the close of the candles for the next structure level. So there's the structure level just here, and that's where I'm looking at taking targets. Beautiful looking trade, that I got to say. $39 pips for 160, was it in the end? 165. Okay guys, we're just going to wrap this up then. If you've got any other currency pairs you want me to take a look at, please let me know now. Other than that, just as a quick recap, Aussie dollar CAD, triangle, looking for the breakout and the pullback and a chance to get long, or you're looking for a double bottom trendline structure. Number 2, Aussie dollar, you could use the Gartley pattern as a trend continuation trade. Number 3, Euro Aussie, a beautiful trendline structure and a big daily bat pattern would offer you a beautiful chance to get involved for about 270 pips to get long to targets. Also looking at, we short the euro dollar, the pound Aussie, we have a bat pattern that's set up. In fact guys, we also looked at the flag. If this is a valid flag pattern for you, then as you can see here, we've actually just had the fourth touch and a hold. You may even have a rejection candle followed by a higher high, higher close here. So if you believe price can go higher, it's looking like you have an at market buy for that flag pattern. Isn't going to be one for me, guys, but nevertheless you could buy it up. Even have targets at the 886 for the back pattern and sell the back. So you have the pound Aussie there as well. Reminder on the pound yen, we have the long opportunity, or if we violate structure, you're looking at the head and shoulders. We're short the New Zealand dollar triple top, looking for a retest of structure lows. We have the pound dollar back pattern, and we also have the dollar yen 60-minute potential trend continuation. Don't have a clear reading on targets though, so you want to be either aggressive with targets or you want to manage your stop on every outside return. Plenty to look at there, guys. Did you go over dollar CAD? No, I didn't. I can take a look at that. Dollar CAD. What's happening on the dollar CAD? Okay, dollar CAD. Just 1 second, guys. Sorry, I've got the wife saying to me, we've got to go up to the golf. Okay, so we'll make the dollar CAD the last one. Okay, bigger picture. We spoke about the short here on the dollar CAD, didn't we? So out to the daily time frame, and the short was based on this trend line structure. So 1, 2, and you can see up here we hugged this entire level. As a minimum then, I'm looking at price now coming lower down to the structure level, and on the last webinar we said that this structure level here was the level that we needed to violate for me. So as we go down to the 240, Cody, this was a good call, we did need to go over this. We still have a trend continuation opportunity, so we had a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, and right here we have a valid trend continuation opportunity. So the same, we do exactly the same, guys, as to what we've been over. We look for the first chance entry, the second chance entry, the last chance entry, and we just implement those rules religiously. Cody says we could be putting in an inverse head and shoulders, setting up on the daily 61.8 fib. I just clicked 14410, just give that a second to load. Bigger picture for me is my overall bias is short the dollar CAD. So I know that, Cody, your head and shoulders, you take different ones to me, so I don't know if you're looking at something like this for a head and shoulders. For me personally, based on that trend line structure, I would only be looking short. Okay, so there wouldn't be for me an inverse head and shoulders. If you're looking at this being an inverse head and shoulders, again I would be looking at this as trend continuation. For me, price is going to come down to this lower structure level. So first chance entry, we're actually in it right now, which is the wicks. You can see prices come up and retested it, so we're allowed to drop one time frame lower and look for that short. Okay, if price comes up to this level, we could have a valid first chance entry. Price went overbought, we may have divergence. The problem here with this double top is, again, it's coming to previous structure, so that would actually technically invalidate that double top for me. You may also have, okay, you may have an head and shoulders here. Okay, guys, if that is a head and shoulders, it may also then provide you a short opportunity in the form of a back pattern looking like this: X to A to B, B to C, CD completion. Okay, guys, and that back pattern would provide you the entry into the short position for the higher time frame, the 240 trend continuation. Let me make a note of this as well. Dollar CAD, BAT trend continuation 240. Lots and lots of potential here today, guys. Okay, lots and lots of potential. For me personally though, Cody, I see what you're looking at, but for me personally, my bias is short. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed the webinar. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been the best one for 6 weeks in my opinion. Really enjoyed it. Lots and lots to pay attention to. I'm actually out for a few hours though. I've got several appointments that I need to attend to this morning. Pay close attention to those targets, and everybody sell the euro dollar and the New Zealand dollar. There's a good 260 pips there for us to bank. So alright guys, I'll see you in the webinar this afternoon. Take care. Bye for now.